All right, we're gonna get started. Apologies if I didn't give you enough time. The first is 2 to the 5th, which we want to write out the long way, which would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We're doing that 5 times. So to help you with this, I'm going to rewrite this as 2 times 2 is 4. And then I'm going to write that as another 4. So our problem becomes 4 times 4, which is 16, times 2, which is a 32. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. You may or may not know this, but anything to the 0th power is
0.
Nope. Good guesses, both of you. Try one more thing. So we had a guess of 0, which was wrong. We had a guess of this, which is wrong. What's another guess?
1.
Correct. It is 1. Anything to the 0th power is 1, and I'll prove that to you later. You get your quiz on your desk, okay? All right, now the next one is 0 to the 15th power, which is 0 times 0 times 0 times 0 times 0 times 0, 15 times. What's that answer going to be?
2.
Good. So 0 to any power is going to be 0. Now the last one is 9 to the 1/2 power. And by definition, that's going to be the square root of 9. And a little bit tricky is the fact that the 1 is actually right here, and the 2 is here. And I'll teach you this more explicitly later, but this is basically saying the square root of 9 to the 1st power. Now, typically we don't write that 2 there. We just erase it if it's a 2. But this is just going to be the square root of 9. What is the square root of 9? 3. Because 3 times 3 is 9. And if you're curious about that, another example might be x to the 4/3 power. That would actually be equal to the cubed root of x to the 4th. See how I just switched these two numbers when I put it in the root? My old students like to say dancing narwhals. D for denominator for the 4, and then numerator, or this goes D for dancing for denominator, N for numerator. However you want to remember it. I just like to flip them. Any questions about this slide? Just kind of like, hey, FYI. All right, so you might want to write this down in your notes. We're in a brand new unit, and this unit is called Exponents and Logs. And you have done exponents before in Algebra 1, but I do not think you've ever done a logarithm. This is our Unit 5. We've done Algebra 1, we've done 2 quadratics units, we've done a polynomial unit, and now we're in our 5th unit. All right, exponents and logs. So some basic terminology. If I'm writing 2 to the 4th, you should know that this is your base and this is your exponent. So if I ever say something like, make sure the bases are the same, think of this as the base. If anyone's done cheerleading before, the base is that thing that's on the bottom holding something up. Any cheerleaders in the house? Do you know I used to be a cheerleader? Yeah. I used to do it because I like to do the flips down the basketball court to be cool. What does this mean? Well, it means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 16. But you might not need to write that. You do know that. All right, some important examples. This is really interesting. This is a major mistake people make on their calculator. If you have a -3 to the 4th, that actually means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and the negative is outside. Why? Well, because of order of operations says to do exponents first, which would be do 3 to the 4th first, and then multiply it by -1. Remember, PEMD. Okay, it says to do exponents first before the multiplication. So you would be doing this exponent first, and then you would multiply by the -1. And so you actually would get a -81 here. What would I need to get a positive 81? I would need parentheses. If I have -3 in parentheses to the 4th, that would be -3 times -3 times -3 times -3, which is a positive 81. So believe it or not, if you do -2 squared in your calculator, what do you think you'll get? You'll get a -4. And I have so many students who are like, Ms. Sorensen, my calculator's wrong. Actually, no, it's not. It's doing 2 squared first, which is 4, and then multiplying it by -1. Versus, if you do a -2 squared in your calculator, what will you get? Positive 4. And the reason this is important, it has to do with when you substitute into an equation. If you forget your parentheses, you will get your answer wrong, especially if you're plugging in a negative number. What questions can I answer on this? Would you like to know my favorite color? My favorite color is orange. It's very pretty. All right. Now let's talk about variable expressions. If I have x to the 5th power, that means x times x times x times x times x 5 times. If I have y cubed, that means y times y times y. Do you need to write that down, or do we know that? I think we know that. All right, be careful. Someone made this mistake the other day, and I'm pretty sure it was in pre-calc, not in your class. But they said, okay, if I have x plus 2 squared, is that equal to x squared plus 2 squared? Is that right? That is wrong. Correct. This does not work. That is wrong. You cannot distribute that 2 to both of those. This problem is actually a FOIL problem. Remember that x plus 2 times x plus 2, where we go x times x is x squared, x times 2 is a 2x, 2 times x is a 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. So our final answer is x squared plus 4x plus 4. This is correct. So be careful with distributing your 2 in there. It's a common mistake. You guys seem quiet today. You want me to dance? What do you need from me? I'm a really good dancer. Actually, I'm like as bad as they come. Like, I am not good. I've had like people come up to me and be like, wow, that's a unique style.